Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting out war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk start collecting Kings of War Ambush by Mithras Games. Now, Kings of War Ambush is a smaller scale game of the mass battle rank and flank game that is Kings of War. It's based around smaller armies aimed at allowing people to get into the game much quicker and get playing, a game much quicker. Now, in this video, we're going to go through the Elf Army box set and talk about how we can use this particular box set to start an army of elves in the game. We're going to take a look at the contents of the box set, what they can do on the tabletop and how they sort of work. We'll then take a look at some other units we can use to expand upon this initial purchase, giving us some alternate options, some alternate builds within the army. We'll then finish off the video showing you a little sample 750 point army list, pretty basic sort of army list for you to use as some inspiration for starting your own elf army for Kings of War. Now, let's talk about the units. First of all, we have three big blocks of troops in this. The first of them being 20 Elf Kindred Tall Spears, and they have a command in them as well. Now, Kindred Tall Spears are really nice. First of all, they have the elite keyword, which is going to allow them to reroll ones to hit, which is just really nice. And then they've also got the Phalanx special rule, which I think in Ambush is particularly useful. Units that charge this unit's front cannot use the Thunderous Charge special rule. In addition, cavalry, large cavalry, and units with a Fly special rule that make an unhindered charge against this unit's front suffer a -1 to hit modifier in the subsequent melee. So this is just really good at stopping enemy units, especially enemy sort of heavier units like cavalry and all those heavier sort of troops with Thunderous Charge and stuff like that, from being able to come in and deal damage. This makes a unit really survivable in this type of game. So definitely a solid unit to start off with. We then get 20 Kindred Archers with command as well. Now, Kindred Archers are sort of your baseline archers for the elves. They can come in a troop with 8 attacks or a regiment with 10 attacks. Obviously, you can't take hordes, but they do get 20 attacks if they are a horde in bigger games of Kings of War. Their bows are 24-inch range, and then elite for their ranged attacks as well. Nothing sort of too much more there. They can put out a decent amount of fire. They've got a range 4+, defense 3+, melee 5+. They're okay, and speed 6 generally is pretty much the elf standard. Now, the Kindred Gladestalkers are the other unit we get. Now, they're going to have elite as well, like most elves, but they get elite on both profiles. So while the Kindred Archers only have elite on range, the Gladestalkers will have elite both range and combat. They've also got Pathfinder and Scout as some additional special rules for the unit, which are really nice. Scout, this unit can make a single at the double or advanced order after setup is finished, which is really nice. And then a Pathfinder rule as well available to the unit. The unit suffers no penalties for moving through difficult terrain, which is really nice for getting them where you want to. Now, they've also got their bows, 24-inch range, and they've got steady aim as well on those bows. Now, we get 2 bolt throwers. Now, there is one issue with this box set in that bolt throwers are you can only take one of each war machine, so you can only take one of these bolt throwers. But that's not going to be a problem. We'll show you in the sample army list at the end of the video. Definitely setting you up well for larger games of Kings of War or indeed Ambush or other versions of the game later on. But bolt throwers are pretty nice. They're going to have 2 attacks with a range of 4+. They're 48-inch range, blasty 3, elite for their range, piercing 2 with the reload rule, and they can also potentially take null void bolts as well, where enemy units that suffer 1 or more damage from this unit's range attack gain the spellboard special rule until the end of the following turn as well. Now, lastly, we have an Elf King. This is a pretty solid hero. Now, they can be pretty fighty. They've got elite melee, individual inspiring, mighty, and crushing strength +1. The Shard Blade is an interesting upgrade, can turn their melee to a 2+ from a 3+ for 15 points. They can take a Sabertooth Hunting Cat, which is an Elf Army unique upgrade where the unit taking a Sabertooth Hunting Cat will gain the Duelist special rule. And they can also be mounted on a horse if they want as well. So they can be pretty fighty little heroes in their own right. Looking at where to go next, I think another infantry option is an interesting choice in the Palace Guard. Now, while we've got things like the Tall Spears, which are a really great defensive unit, Palace Guard are much more offensively used. Now, Palace Guard have crushing strength 1, and they've got the elite melee rule. They have 10 attacks on their troops, or 12 if they go into a regiment. Melee 3+, so that drops down nicely from, your Tall Spears of a 4+, and defense 4+ as well, so you're not actually losing anything out on your defense. You're not having rules like Phalanx and all that, but you are getting, offensive abilities like crushing strength available to you. Now, for me, Elves and mages go hand in hand. So we're going to talk about the Archmage as well. This is a Spellcaster 3 model. It's another hero option for the Elf army. The Master of Magic rule will allow it to reroll to hit rolls of a natural unmodified 1 with the Bane Chant, Heal, Hex, Lightning Bolt, Mind Fog, Surge, and Wind Blast spells. They can take a variety of different spells. All those spells, in fact, are listed. They don't have any additional ones, but they get to, reroll ones for all of them. And they can also choose to be mounted on a horse as well. So a nice, solid wizard for your force. Now, Elven Cavalry is something that probably is needed to be added to the box set. You have a couple of different options. Now, you have, first of all, the Stormwind Cavalry. These are your heavy cavalry option. The Stormwind Cavalry have 8 attacks in a troop or 16 in a regiment. They can be upgraded to Quicksilver Lancers. Only a regiment can be upgraded that. And they gain the nimble and increase the unit's waver and rout nerve values by +1 for 25 points. They've got melee 3+, defense 5+ is really nice as well. And, a speed of 9 is pretty solid for what is, considered a heavy cavalry option. Now, we then also have a large cavalry unit, which I think is, one of the most interesting things. Do you like dragons? Well, you have Drakon Riders, which are elves riding dragons as a unit. Now, the Drakon Riders have 9 attacks for a regiment, and for a horde, 18. Noting, they go to that sort of size. They're melee 3+ and defense 5+, so a little bit better than your average sort of cavalry, but on pretty sort of similar par to the Stormwind Cavalry. They do have Crushing Strength 1 there, Elite Melee like all elves, Thunderous Charge 1 though. So your Stormwind Cavalry, while maybe don't hit quite as hard individually, and don't have the fly, they are going to get Thunderous Charge 2 instead of the Thunderous Charge 1 that is going on the Drakon Riders, but the Drakon Riders are going to get Crushing Strength on top of that as well. So let's build a little bit of a playoff on what you like for your force. And so here we have our sample army. Now, straight out of this, you only need the box set to play with the army we've written here. Anything else you grab, you can play, build your army up to 1,000 points and play Ambush at that level, or indeed go to 1,500, 2K and play a full-size game of Kings of War. Now, you only need to use one of the bolt throwers in the box. You actually already have a spare model right from the get-go. You might be able to trade it with from friends that have, the other models, or indeed, you might just keep it for your full games of Kings of War later down the line. Now, regiments-wise, we've got a Kindred Toolspear and Kindred Archers in regiments. The Archers in a regiment, they come cheaper. We're trying to fit as many models from that box set as we can in. But what we've done in the other stead is the Kindred Gladestalkers. I think these models here are more useful as separate troops rather than the Archers. I think allowing you to have your 2 elite Archer units that have, the abilities to sort of move around a little bit better thanks to their Pathfinder rule and the Scout rule. I think you're going to get more use out of having these 2 as your troops rather than, say, switching the Archer's troop, having more points and being able to bring something else in. One of these Gladestalker units does have the Skirmisher rule as well. This is going to give them the Nimble rule as well, which is really useful, just boosting those movement potentials for the force. We've got a bolt thrower in there as our war engine, only one because you can only take one of each war machine, and we've got the Elven King. This is a pretty solid little list of elves. You've got 2 nice big blocks, 2 really maneuverable archer units, war machine, and a good solid hero to fight with your force. If you've been playing with the elves in Kings of War, let us know how you've been going and what you would do with this box set down in the comments below, and what your favourite units are for the army. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, come and join our Discord and join in the conversation there. We chat all things wargaming and other things besides as well. If you'd like to do that, you can come join via the descriptions linked to the server. Now, also linked down in the video's description is the best ways to support the channel via Patreon or YouTube members, or indeed grabbing some merch from our merch stores on either Teespring or on Ko-fi. As a special thank you to everyone who does support the channel on Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out. So, thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising 8, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Bloobs, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Aaron DeHaven, Kevin Bowman, and Iron Grinch. And a special thank you to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Man Killer, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weir, and James South. Lastly, a special thank you to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel as well. Couldn't do this without you. Thank you all to everyone for watching once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a comment down below. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.